Welcome to Rep Debate. The motion for the debate is this House believes that important decisions for the health of a child must be made by medical professionals and not the parents. Let us call on the government's Prime Minister. You are given 7 minutes to speak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Erica Libranda, standing here in front of all of you to take a stand for what this House believes, and that is, important decisions about children's health should be made by medical professionals and not by their parents. First of all, a child's health is composed of aspects that includes physical, mental, and social well-being. Though most parents know the basics of keeping their child healthy, it does not mean that they could guarantee the best possible decision to be made regarding their child's health. And that is basically the reason why we have these medical professionals. These people are the ones licensed and trusted to make a decision for their patients, both the old ones and even the children. But in this debate, we are going to focus on the health of the children. So here are three argumentations why decisions about children's health should be made by medical professionals and not by their parents. Our first point is that even though it is wide known to all people that parents know their children most than anyone could, it could not always be possible, especially when it comes to their health. Most parents know only the basic medical conditions like fever, cough, or colds. But do they know the principles of medical surgery in case their child needs one? Doctors studied hard enough to reach their goal in becoming a professional, and they devoted their life just to be trusted by the public when it comes to treating their patients' illnesses. Our second point would be that there are times that the child itself would lie to their parents and has a tendency to keep their illness once they would get and that would worsen their illness, in which they should be seeking a medical profession already. But once they would get to the doctor, the child could not hide anything at all. For instance, X-rays could see anything once you are examined by it. And thus, the doctor would decide the medical treatment that is needed. And lastly, our third point would be that the parents often believe that they know their child well, but that does not mean that they are actually right about it. They do not mind the child's decision sometimes, and that should lead to the doctor's decision that would be accurate. That would be all. Thank you.
Now let us call on the opposition's Prime Minister.
The government side has given us clear and concise description of the benefits of having a medical professional as a decision maker when it comes to the health and well-being of a child. They are right in the fact that medical professionals are the ones who are experts in the field, so whatever they are actually saying are true for the child's case. They are practically right, except that what they are proposing is indeed very impractical. Not all people can afford to have checkups annually. How much more if people will have their children be consulted to a doctor just to give precise decisions for their health? Having medical professionals decide for the well-being of a child create huge negative impacts to the family themselves. Those negative impacts are the family may suffer from financial instability due to the overwhelming price of having a regular consultation. The second one is that the family may be exploited by these medical experts. And lastly, the family has the freedom to choose whatever they want for their child, and all of the institutions involved must be only the option giver and not the decision maker. So firstly, we argue that this idea proposed brings negative impacts because the family may suffer from financial instability due to the overwhelming price of regular consultations. To start with, let's bring the definition of health. Health is defined as the overall well-being of a person. There are 5 aspects to consider to decide whether a person is healthy or not. That is the physical, mental, psychological, financial, and spiritual aspects. Given with this, the medical experts should give concise diagnosis on even these 3 medical aspects, which is the physical, mental, and psychological ones. Even just one diagnosis in one of the particular aspects can bring tremendous amount of burden in the finance of the family. No, thank you. A consultation for the physical part, for example, could be around 500 pesos as the minimum amount to be paid. X-rays and scans are not even included there. If you will add it up, it may go upward to 1,500 minimum. As for the mental and psychological parts, they can be costly as well, even for just one consultation. Given with the nature of these two, to give precise diagnosis would mean 10 or more consultation, which will in the long run will add up to the price that the family should pay. If the people choose to let the medical experts decide the overall well-being of a child, then that would mean that they are willing to pay millions of pesos just to have precise diagnosis of each and every aspect of the child's health, which is highly doubtful and could even lead to huge debts. And for the second argument, we argue that one of the potential negative effects is that exploitations by medical professionals may exist with this kind of idea. You can even see now the corruptions within the medical institutions. There are public hospitals who chooses not to entertain patients because they don't have any money. There are doctors who will even choose not to cure a patient because they don't have any money. If we are already seeing this kind of malign act, how much more if we will let this idea rule over the decisions when it comes to health and such. With this kind of idea, we are indeed letting them use us to gain profit. They will use our need of medical attention to perpetuate the system of money first before service. We have the right to have free and legitimate medical attention, but this proposal is only an absurd way to prove that these exploitations are just and right. And for the third and last argument, letting the medical experts decide the overall well-being of a child will never bring any good, but rather huge harm to the family. Because the family has the freedom to choose whatever they want for their child, and all of the institutions involved must only be the option giver and not the decision maker. If this idea will prevail on our society, this will hinder all of our rights of freedom for our very own children. The medical institutions will only be the one who will have a say to whatever and however the child would live. Their diagnosis will be the only basis on how the children will look at their own future. And that's very degradable for the whole family itself. Letting the experts will only mean that the parents are willing to stop their responsibilities of protecting their child from the harsh realities of his status. It violates the very existence of parental instincts to nurture and protect their child. This is in any way violates our own natural human rights, and approving to let this idea prevail on our society will definitely mean that we are surrendering our right to become a human, a parent, and a loving individual. These three reasons are the very reasons why we, the opposition side, will never support the idea that medical experts should be the decision maker for the well-being of the children. And we will dutifully and willfully prove that the perspective of the government is wrong and absurd. Thank you.
Now let's hear from the government's deputy speaker. You have 7 minutes.
Our House believes that important decisions about children's health should be made by professionals and not their parents. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We agree to this statement because we believe that even though parents have the right in making decisions about their children's health, medical professionals have more knowledge in making decisions of what is the best to do regarding to the child condition. To fully prove this statement, our group will give 3 points why it's best that professionals make decisions about the children's health. First argument is medical caretaker have an ethical and legal duty to advocate the best interest of the child or the best treatment for the child when parental decision is potentially dangerous to child health or the decisions unwise or abusive the child condition. We just think that some parents think they know better than the doctor and might live against the medical advice. That could cause more serious and harmful, and they prevent their child from getting the medical treatment they need. But if they just put their trust on the doctor, they can be at least a little relief because they are trained professionally. Second argument is an emergency situation. The doctor is free to use their medical judgment in an emergency situation. For example, is arrival in an emergency room. From an accident, but the decision is medical treatment should be done as soon as possible. But the parents wasn't there. Some medical professionals will make decisions and just consult the parents afterwards. But there are times that cause cases that parents are happy to take the advice of doctors for children. And most of the time, this happens the parents give the doctors the decision, for they know that doctors can decide the best. But in this case, parents cannot. For the last argument, doctors aren't perfect, but we believe that they are just better at medicine than parents. Parents can make decisions, but the important and final should be made by medical professionals. For the reasons that doctors and medical caretakers go to med school for years, so they have more decisions making power. Because they can also determine what best based on their training. That's all.
Now let us call on the opposition's deputy speaker. You have 7 minutes.
Good day, everyone. I'm Evangeline R. Ignacio from Opposition Team. Our House believes that important decisions about children's health should not be made by medical professionals, but instead their parents. Important decisions about children's health should be made by the parents who are responsible for the child. Physicians should just educate and advise the parents to the best of his or her ability. But the physician cannot make the decision. All decisions must be made by the parents. The doctor is free to use their medical judgment, but the final decisions must come from the parents. Children can be or should be involved when parents are deciding, but physicians or medical professionals should not interfere with the decisions of the parents. Parents should have the freedom to make all decisions regarding medical care for their children. Medical professionals must know their place because sometimes they are going over to their limitations. And parents will feel being graded, and they will feel they had no right as a parent. Do doctors know everything? No. They may be a licensed doctor, but that doesn't mean that they're well-skilled and they're very hands-on to their patients. Doctors are more corruptible than parents. Corruptible means capable of being corrupted. Doctors are present to advise the parents on what the best course of action may be. However, doctors can be motivated by factors unrelated to the child's well-being. For example, insurance companies that pattern their medications to healthcare providers. Doctors should not call the shots. Sometimes, parents know better than doctors. No, they shouldn't. Medical system is overall a good thing that can benefit everyone. Despite this, parents should never go so far in the point that doctors will be the one to decide on their children's health. It is a parent's job to decide, and the doctor's job is to advise his or her parents. That's all. Thank you.
Now let us call on the government's whip. You have 7 minutes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Alexandra Katihiman, the third speaker of the government side. I am here in front of you to tell you that this House believes that important decisions about children's health should be made by medical professionals and not by their parents. And here are some of our arguments. First and foremost, parents aren't trained as medical professions unless they are doctors. In order to be a certified medical professional, they have to go through 10 or more years in medical school. As our Prime Minister say, parents often believe that they know their children better than anyone. In some ways, that is true. In some ways, that is not. They simply do not have the medical knowledge to make decisions for their children. They are blinded by the assumption that they know everything about their children. Parents are more likely to ignore simple symptoms of illness of their children that may lead to a fatal tragedy. We are not saying that medical professionals are always 100% right, but they did not go to a medical school for 10 years for nothing. Second argument. Visiting or having a family doctor has several benefits. Annual visits to doctors are a chance to update personal medical doctor. But the opposition group said visiting the doctor or having a doctor check your children may cost you a lot of money. It may be true in some circumstances that having a family doctors or some doctors are only after the patient's money. But the reason behind this is the doctors rely on the patient's money for their business. But not all doctors are like that. Doctors' sole intention are not to create a profit by giving their patients treatments, nor to exhort them. Doctors are sworn to an oath in which they dedicate to save lives. Now going to the benefits. One of the biggest benefits of having a primary care doctor who specializes in caring for children is his or her experience referring to pediatric specialists. If your child begins to develop symptoms of serious illness, your pediatrician knows better what to do with them. Our last argument is that some children are not telling their parents that they are already feeling something. Some children are also suffering a CIP or congenital insensitivity to pain with anhidrosis. Now what is a CIP? This is a genetic disorder that makes a person unable to feel any kind of pain, so they can hurt or injure themselves without the meaning of it. Those people really need the attention of medical professionals since they can't really feel anything. They need to be checked by doctors in order to know if something is really wrong with them. Example, what if your child suffers from a broken bone? Are you just gonna let it pass and let your child suffer? Now, our group or the government side is not really telling you that each of our parents or we should go with the decisions of the doctors. We and our parents have the right to decide for our own. But what we are really telling you is that doctors' decisions are better since they are professionals. Now that is all, and thank you.
Now let's call on the opposition sweep. You have 7 minutes.
Good day, everyone. My name is Daniel Taichi Tigaregnara from opposition team.
We believe that the best decision is from the parent side, because maybe we need medical help from doctor, but they will not decide what we will do in our life.
We have different kind of struggles in our life, and not just a single doctor can solve it. They make it to school for 10 years. For 10 years, just for medicine, not to solving decisions. We have, just as it was said, we have different kind of problem in our life. Maybe we can trust the doctor for our sickness, but not to our problems. We have for our family problem. They take med school for 10 years to cure our sickness and not to control our life for the rest of our life.
If we have if we have enough money, we'll do this to our child. But we don't have this kind of money. And how about the others? If it us don't have this kind of money, how about the others that since their grandparents don't have money and since they are poor? How the doctor can solve that problem? Maybe he or she can cure the sickness of the patient. But can you trust him? If you don't pay that doctor, he will never ever cure the patient. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Shake hands.
Thank you. Nice.
Tagal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.